Hi everyone, and welcome along to today's webinar on cutting your IT costs. My name's Tom in the product team at Faronics. Thanks very much for your time today, and thanks for joining the session. I hope it will prove helpful if you're trying to cut your IT costs. Please put any questions in the Zoom chat as I'm speaking, and I'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session. So there's a bit of a backdrop at the moment of news items relating to the worldwide economy, which is having an effect on the ground. So just a few news articles recently, words like inflation and recession getting bandied around all the time. So there's a lot of countries and a lot of companies in a lot of different countries who aren't doing quite as well as they were, and are looking at drawing in the purse strings, cutting costs. So this is often feeding its way down into the IT budget. So if you're an IT manager, you've always been under pressure to deliver top quality services for the lowest cost, but that pressure has been intensifying recently. Fortunately, though, we can help you in quite a few different ways. So I'm going to show you a product called Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, which can cut your IT costs significantly. So one of the first ways in which Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze will cut your IT costs is that it's a cloud-based platform for managing all your workstations. So the URL is deepfreeze.com. That's going to be the URL wherever you are, wherever your workstations are. So if you're relying on a server to manage your workstations, then immediately that cost is no longer required. You don't need to be maintaining a server, upgrading it, looking after it. Everything can be managed from the cloud. So Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze offers you a lot of different ways of making yourself more efficient, keeping on top of what's happening with your workstations, and allowing you to make the best available decisions. And this page here is one example of that. This is the inventory page. So I can see here all my computers, and I can see here for each one who the manufacturer is, what the system drive usage is, where it's physically located, the IP address, the warranty start date, the warranty end date, and lots of other columns that I could choose to drag and drop to configure my grid as relevant to me. So for example, if I'm interested in knowing about RAM, I could put that column in, and there it is. But maybe I don't want to know about disks, so I'll get rid of that. Just a case of setting the columns up to show me the information I want to see. And then I don't need to be spending time getting this information from lots of different sources. I always have it available in one place. So I'm saving time on inventory management. I don't have to maintain a spreadsheet, keep it up to date. It's always just automatically up to date. And I can make better financial decisions about looking after my workstation. So if I can see when my warranty ends, then I know that I can look at carrying out any fixes that need to happen within warranty, and decisions about when to upgrade hardware are made with the best available information. So this inventory page will automatically make an IT manager a lot more efficient than someone who, for example, might still be managing inventory in Excel. So another way in which we can make an IT manager more efficient is by automating software updates. So in the policy page here in Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, under the software updater module, there's a long list of predefined software. So I would just need to select the applications I wish to keep updated, just tick the right boxes, and it's easy to add my own software if I have software that doesn't appear on this list, but this is more than 100 common applications. So I would just need to select the software I want to keep updated and then schedule a maintenance period. So it would be, say, between midnight and 1 o'clock on a Thursday. All that software is going to be kept up to date. So no longer do I have to spend time packaging up all my software updates. All that time is eliminated. It can happen when I'm asleep, out of production hours, at no cost to usability or efficiency. And the same with Windows updates. So if I want to automate all my Windows updates, I can select for each category of Windows update whether I want to always install or set an approval stage. So I might typically say that I would like to always install critical updates and security updates, but I could easily just always install everything. And I've got options around how that delivers in my environment. And that again will save time. Windows updates is something that can consume quite a lot of an IT manager's time. And that again is something that if you want to just set everything to always install and set it to happen when nothing's happening, when all the workstations are off, then that's just going to remove all that manual work on Windows updates and software updates. And you can, if you like, set a cache server for software updates and Windows updates. So if you set one of your devices as a software update cache server, then that workstation will retrieve all the software updates from the internet and will distribute those updates via the local network rather than via the internet. So if you have a large amount of workstations, that can just save you quite a bit of bandwidth just by setting up a cache server. So you can schedule all your Windows updates, or you can run your Windows updates on demand if you like. So this is the Windows Update dashboard. So I always have an overview of the security patch status of my workstations, the patch scan status. And I can see here I've got 8 vulnerable computers. I wouldn't have 8 vulnerable computers if I set everything up in my policy to happen automatically. But if I prefer to do it myself, kind of maybe on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis, then I might find I have some vulnerable computers. And I can click on that 8, select all, and here are the 8 computers, and I can just install the missing patches. So again, that took me less than a minute there to update those 8 vulnerable computers. Windows Update, if that is consuming a lot of your staff's time, it doesn't need to. You can free up that time for much more strategic activities. This report is the software license compliance report. And what I'm looking at here is all my software that I'm running, and I can see how many licenses I've paid for. Of those licenses I've paid for, how many I'm using, and when the licenses expire. So this report on its own will very often generate a big return on investment. So for example, we had a big school group in Brazil, and that school group ran this report, and they realized across their schools they were paying for 100 licenses for this really expensive engineering software. And immediately they were able to eliminate 70 of those licenses. Like, they didn't need to be paying for them, so they just got rid of them and saved a lot of money. So when the IT manager is asked at budgeting time to pay for a lot more licenses, that the heads of department are coming along saying, I need more licenses for this, more licenses for that. It's very easy to have the facts in front of you, so you can you can push back and you can say, well, no, we're not buying more licenses for this because we're not using half the ones that we've paid for already. So the next way of saving money would be the remote connect. So if you're finding that you are still walking around from a help desk point of view, if you're getting help desk tickets and you're trudging around from site to site, maybe even traveling, with Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, remote connect is included in ultimate licenses. So I'm just going to select that machine, remote connect, and I'm establishing a remote session. So I can easily just resolve a lot of help desk tickets by remoting in. And now moving on to power save, which will allow you to save quite a lot of money on energy. This is particularly relevant given that the price of electricity has gone up significantly in the last year. So I can set power events. So I can set all my workstations to shut down at a certain time. I can be more careful about it. I can turn off my monitor, my hard drive, shut down standby or hibernate if I have a certain amount of inactivity plugged in running on batteries. I can say if certain critical applications are running, then I'm not going to deliver the power schedule. I can make sure that I don't disrupt my users. So I can notify my users a custom number of seconds in advance, and I can customize the message that I present my users with. And if I like, I can just allow them to defer power management if I want to make sure that they're working on something really important. They're not going to be disrupted by a power event. And I can say that if open documents are being worked on, then I can save those in a certain location and notify the user. And then just a little bit of setup there. And having done that setup, if I know how much I'm paying for my electricity per kilowatt hour, I just put that in. And then I'm going to have access to the power save reports. So I will be able to see exactly how much money I'm saving. And this is only 8 computers when we just started using the policy. But if it was a large number of computers, then the savings could be quite big. And you would also be able to report from an environmental point of view on the amount of acres of trees you have saved, barrels of oils you've conserved, cars taken off the road, and tons of CO2. And you will be able to filter by date, and you'll be able to generate that report, export to print, HTML, PDF, and CSV. And if, for example, you have a finance manager who's interested in saving money on electricity, you can make that finance manager a reporting administrator on Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, and that person would always be able to log in and keep track of how much money is being saved on electricity. And then finally, we have Deep Freeze. So Deep Freeze is a reboot to restore solution. It's unique to Faronics. There's no one else that does it. It's a kernel level software that will restore a restarted workstation to its original state. So every time you restart a workstation, it will completely clean out the hard drive and restore the workstation as if it was a brand new workstation. So there are several ways in which Deep Freeze will save you money. So one way is that it will reduce the impact of hardware degradation. So obviously hardware is very expensive, and over time it diminishes in performance. But you're going to reduce the effect of that if you use Deep Freeze, because every time a workstation starts, it will do so as a totally clean and fresh workstation. All the junk that clogs up a machine over time will not impact performance. It just won't be there. Another way in which it will save you time, save you money, is on help desk, because most help desk tickets are resolved on a restart. Most issues are going to disappear when you restart the workstation. So a large proportion of your help desk tickets you will find that you don't need to spend time on. It's just a restart, and you can carry out the restart from the cloud. And then there's also the security benefit, which is a financial benefit, because if you have a virus or ransomware or anything bad on your machine, then that's just going to disappear on restart. So suppose you have a ransomware attack. That's something that there are layers of security within this product to prevent that happening in the first place. But if you have something that you have an attack and it makes it through, you can spend months, years, a long time as an IT team dealing with the fallout from an attack, and you're never completely sure if you're going to recover from it. But with deep freeze, you know that if you have an infected machine, you restart that machine and the ransomware's gone. So looking at the components of endpoint management, there's 4 key areas in which Faronics Cloud can help you. So we're going to automate all your patch management, so you don't need to worry about that. On the help desk side, we make it easy to manage your tickets, and we will just get rid of a load of your typical tickets. From an endpoint security point of view, there's a very strong package of measures to protect you. And when it comes to inventory and analytics, you can be much more efficient. You can save time, save manual time and effort, and you're always going to be able to find out what you need to know about your workstations. And taken together, Faronics Cloud will cover your needs in these 4 areas, but it's not as if you need to throw your baby out with your bathwater. You can just try one of these services, see how it goes, and then move on to the others gradually if you find that it works. We've got 33,000 customers around the world, and we've successfully helped them save a lot of money now for a long time. So we have saved a lot of people a lot of money in the ways that I've gone through there. But even if just one of those methods has an impact, it can have a big impact, and you can see an extremely healthy return on investment. So the benefits of Faronics Cloud, you can save cost. It's a scalable investment, software as a service, so it's infinitely scalable. You only need to pay for what you need. And it has huge security benefits. So Faronics Cloud includes deep freeze as a reboot to restore solution, which is an extremely powerful layer of security. But there are other layers of security, including antivirus, anti-executable. You can use kiosk mode to lock down the functions of the workstation. It's very powerful layered security, which is going to reduce the risk of getting hacked, which again saves you money, because if you are hacked, that takes up all your time for a long time. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can try it out for a month with no obligation. So there's a free trial available at faronics.com. So you can give it a try and just see how much money you save in 1 month. And then if you find you're saving money in a month, you can move on to further months. So I'm just going to leave the QR code on screen there if you would like to schedule a demo and find out more. And I can see I've got some questions, which I'm just going to take now. And please feel free to put any more questions in. Okay, so we've got a question about scheduling of software updates. Okay, so under maintenance period, yeah, so the question was about whether it's possible to schedule monthly instead of weekly. So no, it's just a weekly schedule. So you'd have to select the day of the week on which you wish to deliver your Windows updates and your software updates. So you have to pick like a day of a week, like Monday or Tuesday, rather than a day of the month. You can't have like the first or the second or the third of the month. Is there in the help desk ticketing option a connection with your own mail system possible? Yes. So if we go to incident reporting, so if you configure the incident reporting module, if you include your IT help desk email here, then any incidents that get reported by your users will automatically sync to your existing IT help desk. So you're not going to be running several help desk systems. You can sync your existing help desk with the help desk in Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze. So I've got a question about a virtual test environment that can allow customers to become acquainted with the product. Yeah, so it's a free trial. There's a 30-day free trial, and you can test on your own workstations. I think the question is about whether we would include a virtual test environment with dummy workstations that a prospect, a possible customer could test the product out on. But we think it's better that a possible customer would test out the product on their own workstations. So we wouldn't provide a virtual test environment, because every environment is completely different and a customer needs to know that it would work for their own situation. But if you're worried about how that would work, then you can just try it on one or two separated workstations if you like, get the hang of it, and then move on to your live workstations that people are using in the real world. Thanks very much for the questions. Any more questions? Just pause for a second. Thanks very much, everyone, for those questions. Okay. Thanks very much, everyone, for your time. I'll just pop the QR code back. Yeah, great to be with you today. And like I say, give it a try. We're very confident we can save you a lot of money. But as I say, it's 30 days, no obligation, if you want to test it for yourself. And that QR code there will, if you want to have a live demo for your own environment where we discuss your particular considerations and talk about what would work for you, then that QR code will take you to a Calendly page to book your own demo. So thanks very much, everyone. Great to be with you today, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.